Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. In today's lecture, we are going to understand and explain the humorous and playful love poem, To My Valentine, written by the famous American poet Ogden Nash. If you're new here, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more easy and enjoyable literature explanations. Now, before we begin, let me quickly tell you the background. Ogden Nash was known for writing funny, lighthearted poems that play with language and exaggeration. This poem is actually a love poem, but instead of serious romance, Nash uses jokes and comparisons to express strong feelings. He exaggerates everything to show how much he loves the person he is talking to. All right, let's begin the line-by-line explanation in simple and easy words. More than a catbird hates a cat. In this opening line, Ogden Nash begins with a very funny comparison. A catbird is a small bird, and of course, it fears and hates cats because cats can harm it. So Nash uses this natural fear to show how strong his love is. He is saying, just like the catbird really hates the cat, my love for you is even stronger than that. It's an exaggerated and humorous way to express deep affection. And then says, or a criminal hates a clue. Here, Nash gives another humorous example. A criminal definitely hates clues because clues help the police catch him. So once again, the poet is using a big, dramatic dislike to show the opposite feeling, his love. He really means that his love is stronger than even a criminal's fear of being discovered. It adds more comedy while still expressing powerful emotion. And then says, or the Axis hates the United States. This line refers to World War II, when the Axis powers were enemies of the United States. Their hatred was intense and serious. Now she uses this giant historical conflict to make his declaration of love even more dramatic. He basically says, but even enemies in a war don't feel as strongly as he feels love for his Valentine. That's how much I love you. After listing strong examples of hatred, Nash finally explains the point. He loves the person with just as much intensity. His love is as powerful as all the dislikes he mentioned, but in a positive way. It wraps up the stanza and makes the message clear. My love is huge, strong, and impossible to ignore. And then says, I love you more than a duck can swim. Here he playfully compares his love to something endless. Ducks naturally swim all the time, and it seems like they were born to swim. By saying he loves someone more than a duck can swim, he means his love is natural, constant, and never-ending. It adds a soft, funny mood to the poem. And more than a grapefruit squirts. In this line, the poet uses a funny and messy comparison. When you cut or squeeze a grapefruit, its juice squirts everywhere in a sudden and strong way. Ogden Nash uses this image to show how full and overflowing his love is. Just like grapefruit juice comes out with force, his love is powerful and impossible to control. It's a light, humorous way of saying that his love is big and bursting with energy. I love you more than a gin rummy is a bore. Now he compares his love to how boring the card game gin rummy can feel to some people. He is basically saying that gin rummy is extremely dull, and his love is even bigger than that level of boredom. It's a humorous way of expressing strong affection by using an everyday activity people often find tedious. Nash uses exaggeration to make the line playful and funny. In simple words, he's saying, my love for you is huge, even bigger than how boring gin rummy is. And more than a toothache hurts. In this line, he compares the strength of his love to the pain of a toothache. A toothache is known to be sharp, constant and very uncomfortable, so mentioning it immediately makes readers understand something intense. By saying he loves more than a toothache hurts, he is using exaggeration to show that his love is powerful and impossible to ignore. The humor comes from comparing something romantic to something painful. In simple words, he means his love is stronger than the worst toothache you can imagine. As a shipwrecked sailor hates the sea. This is more dramatic comparison. A sailor who's been shipwrecked would naturally fear and dislike the sea because it caused danger and suffering. Nash uses this intense feeling to say, even that hate is small compared to my love for you. Again, he uses strong emotion to express affection. As a juggler hates a shove. In this line, the poet uses unfunny and vivid comparison. A juggler needs balance, focus, and steady hands to keep all the balls or objects in the air. If someone suddenly shoves or pushes the juggler, everything falls apart and creates a total mess. So naturally, a juggler would hate being shoved more than anything. By using this image, the poet is humorously saying that his love is as strong and intense as the juggler's hatred for that sudden shove. In simple words, he loves deeply, just like a juggler strongly hates being pushed at the wrong moment. As a hostess detests unexpected guests. Now he compares his strong love to how much a hostess dislikes guests who show up without warning. A hostess usually prepares her home, food, and herself before people visit, so unexpected guests create stress and panic. They disrupt her plans and make her feel unprepared, which naturally makes her annoyed. By choosing this everyday situation, the poet uses humor to express an intense feeling. In simple words, he loves as strongly as a hostess dislikes surprise visitors. That's how much you I love. In this line, the poet is summing up all the funny comparisons he has given so far. After describing many strong dislikes, like a juggler hating a shove or a hostess hating unexpected guests, he says that his love is just as powerful, but in the opposite direction. The awkward word order adds a playful, dramatic tone, as if he is speaking with great emotion. He wants the listener to feel the intensity of his love, expressed through exaggerated humor. In simple words, he says, I love you as strongly as people hate the things they hate the most. I love you more than a wasp can sting. In this line, the poet uses another funny and exaggerated comparison. A wasp can sting many times, and its sting is sharp and painful, so he is using something intense to show the strength of his love. By saying he loves more than a wasp can sting, he suggests that his love is even stronger and more powerful than the painful bite of a wasp. He turns something unpleasant into a humorous way of expressing affection. In simple words, he means his love is bigger than even the most painful things a wasp can do. And then says, and more than the subway jerks. Now he uses a funny everyday example to show the strength of his love. Riding a subway can be uncomfortable because the train suddenly stops or jerks, which annoys and surprises passengers. Nash compares his love to this experience, saying it is even stronger and more noticeable than the sudden jerks of a subway ride. The humor comes from turning a small, irritating moment into a measure of love. In simple words, he is saying, his love is bigger and stronger than the jolts of a subway ride. I love you as much as a beggar needs a crutch. In this line, the poet uses a serious but clear comparison. A beggar who is injured or weak depends completely on a crutch to move and survive. Nash compares his love to that essential need, showing that his love is extremely important and necessary. It emphasizes that the beloved is as crucial to him as the crutch is to the beggar. In simple words, he is saying, I need and depend on you as much as someone needs a crutch to walk. And more than a hangnail irks. He uses a small but very relatable annoyance to describe his love. A hangnail is tiny, but it can be painful, irritating, and hard to ignore. By saying he loves more than a hangnail irritates, Nash humorously exaggerates his feelings and shows that even the smallest, most bothersome things cannot compare to the strength of his love. In simple words, he means my love is stronger than even the tiniest annoying pain you can imagine. I swear to you by the stars above. In this line, he uses a traditional romantic way to show how serious his love is. Swearing by the stars above is a poetic way of making the strong promise or declaration. It adds a dramatic and heartfelt tone to the poem, even though the rest of the poem is humorous. Nash is mixing playfulness with a sincere promise here. In simple words, he is saying, I promise you with all the stars in the sky that my love is real and true. And below, if such there be. In this line, the poet playfully continues his promise. He first swore by the stars above, and now he jokingly adds that he would swear by the stars below too, if they exist. This adds humor and exaggeration, showing how far he is willing to go to prove his love. It keeps the tone light and imaginative, while still expressing devotion. In simple words, he means, I promise my love completely, in every part of the universe, even if there are stars below. As the High Court loathes perjurious oaths. In this line, Nash uses a legal example to show the seriousness of his love. A perjurious oath means lying under oath, which a court hates strongly. Nash compares this strong dislike to the intensity of his love, using exaggeration for humor and effect. It adds a playful twist while still emphasizing sincerity. In simple words, he is saying, I love you as surely and strongly as a court hates lying under oath. That's how you're loved by me. In this final line, the poet sums up all the funny and exaggerated comparisons he has made throughout the poem. After listing so many strong dislikes and annoyances, he says that his love is just as powerful, only in a positive way. The line works like a conclusion that ties all the humorous examples together. It reminds the listener that all the wild comparisons were simply ways to express deep affection. In easy words, he says, after all these examples, this is exactly how much I love you. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture, but please don't forget like and subscription to my channel. Thank you.